We are continuing now with our Meet the Candidate series for the 1st District congressional race. That primary is now 1 week from today on September 5th. Early voting is now well underway. Our guest today is Sabina Matos. She's the Lieutenant Governor of Rhode Island, and before that she served on the Providence City Council, and during her time on the council was the council president. She's also a candidate in that crowded CD1 Democratic special election primary. Lieutenant Governor, thank you so much for joining us on our Meet the Candidate series.
Thank you, John. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you here. I wanted to talk to you about Don Carlson. As you know, on Sunday, he left the race. Don Carlson, by the way, who was highly critical of you from the beginning of the signature scandal, ends up leaving the race because of the aftermath of a story first reported on by Channel 12 and by Tim White and his mishandling of Channel 12 trying to get in touch with him. He, during the announcement of leaving the race, threw his support behind Sandra Cano. You were highly critical of that endorsement, going so far as to say you would have rejected the endorsement. Tell me why.
Yeah, I think that Mr. Carlson made the right decision by leaving the race. I think that voters deserve to know the background, and if there's any concerns with any of us that are running for office, we should be able to present our stories to them. So I believe he did the right thing. When it comes to the endorsement, I'm just proud about the endorsement that I have received from different groups that have been fighting for women's right to choose, for abortion rights, like the Emily's List and other pro-choice groups. Sure. So the endorsement from Mr. Carlson, I would not accept it.
So you would not have accepted it, even if he said Sabina Matos is somebody I believe is somebody going forward?
Yeah,
okay.
I would not have accepted it.
You would have rejected it outright.
That's right.
Okay. Since the Boston Globe, Roger Williams University debate, you and your campaign have been highly critical of Aaron Regenberg, pointing out the flaws that you see in him, that he's a fraud, he's a hypocrite, and a liar. Do you still stand by that?
I stand by that because Mr. Regenberg has been telling us that he doesn't believe in money in politics, that we shouldn't have super PACs. Then his campaign puts out information for 48 hours that was intended for a super PAC to use it.
The red box.
Yes, and then he tried to lie about it. He covered it up. He thought he had deleted everything from the internet. We were able to find it. And when I asked him during the debate about it, he just said that he never had one. Yeah. I think that's wrong. He was lying to the voters, and the voters have the right to know exactly that the individuals that are running for office are telling them the truth. If you stand for no money in politics, no super PAC, you should not be putting a secret code in your website for the super PACs to find.
Lieutenant Governor, do you feel like he is a phony in the sense that he's pretending to be a man of the people, but really he's just a spoiled rich kid and only cares about them because it'll further his political ambitions?
I believe that he has been telling us one thing and doing something different. He said that he was not going to run for this position because this was a seat for a woman, right? Or for a person of color. That was the first thing he said. Then he changed his mind and ran for office. But before that, he told Senator Quesada, if you run, I'm not going to run. She's running. And he's still running. So I believe that he just has to tell us what he really believes on so the voters can make an informed decision. He's telling us one thing by doing something different.
What was your reaction, initial reaction, when you found out the poll results from the AMO informal poll numbers that released and showed you in third place, tied with Senator Cano, some 17 points behind? Do you feel like that accurately represents your position in the race?
I don't believe that those numbers are real. Honestly, that's not a scientific, independent poll. If the media have done one, I would believe those numbers. And when you look at the data based on the pollings that we have done before, there's completely off line with everything else that we have shown before.
How recent were those poll numbers done, Lieutenant Governor? Your poll numbers?
We talk about mine, which were June 12th. And then Nick Ariello, when he left the race, he put out his poll numbers and were very similar to what I had. Then this last one are completely off the chart.
Well, people would look at it and say, well, maybe it had something to do with your handling of the signature scandal, that your numbers were high before the scandal. After the scandal, this poll more closely reflects that. Do you agree with that?
Well, I have to admit that, yes, I had been getting the news for the past probably 3 weeks. Of course, that's affected my numbers. But right now, when I'm out and about talking to voters, they're not talking to me about signatures.
Is anyone asking you about that?
No, they're not talking about signatures. The voters are talking about the issues. I just come from a senior center speaking, a high riser speaking with seniors, and they're concerned about Social Security and Medicare. They hear that the Republicans want to eliminate Social Security, and they're scared about that. Those are the things that the voters cares about.
Lieutenant Governor, with so many of the top progressive candidates, which you are one of them, really aligned on the issues, how do you separate yourself with less than a week to go? How do you get the message out to say, yes, I want your vote, here's why you should vote for me?
Well, I have a track record of being in elected office for the past over 12 years, first at the local level, and getting things done. If you look at my neighborhood that I represented when I was in the city council, the Onival neighborhood, look at all the things that had happened. Water Fire Arts Center, Gotham Green, the Far Fresh, building units of housing with first with the 60 King, now with Patagon Mills, a new health center. So I have the lever as a local person in the city council. Then if we go as my role as president of the city council, pass reform for the TSAs, for the tax stabilization, to ensure that the workers are protected and that the taxpayers are getting their money worth when they are putting together
So they'll hear that from
TSA.
you through the TV ads. I'm guessing that you're going to bombard TV ads over the next week.
I'm going to be bringing my message to the voters as much as I can. Yes.
We've run out of time. Thank you so much, Lieutenant Governor. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you, John. Thank
Good
you
luck
for
with your
having me.
campaign.
Thank you. Thanks.